To start off, I will just do a quick recap on what we did for week 5. Just, the main concepts. So you guys have just a general idea of, of plotting. So the idea here is all about graphing and plotting. So week 5 was plotting a straight line, which the equation is in the form ymx plus c, all right? And that's for a straight line. So like you'll get a plot like this, and you'll be, drawing a line like that, just a straight line. You have here the x-intercept, and you have here the y-intercept. Basically, what the x-intercept is, the x-intercept is when you put, it's basically when the line is, cutting the graph at the x-axis, and the y-intercept is when the line is cutting the graph at the y-axis. To find that mathematically, you simply just put y to be equal to 0, and you find the value for x. And for the y-intercept, it's the same idea. You will put x to 0, and you will find the value of y. Okay, so this is just a week 5 recap. Now in week 6, we are going to start graphing parabolic equations, or quadratic equations, I should say. So you remember the quadratic equations that are ax squared plus bx plus c, all right? Their plot will look something like this. This is basically called a parabola, all right? So as you can see, it could be pointing either upwards, or it could be pointing downwards. It could be something like this. So basically, this is when a is negative, and this is when a is positive. All right. This is basically the concept. The difference is between this and the straight line. You have just some extra, steps that you're gonna have to do, and we'll go over them now, inshallah. So let's just take the first question and start working from there. So first, this is a simple question. Without plotting, find the y-intercepts of the parabolic equation. So the equation we have is y is equal to 4x plus 2 x minus 1. So it's asking to find the y-intercepts of the parabolic equation. To do that, like I said earlier, you just have to equate x to 0. And x should be equal to 0, and you will plug it in, excuse me, and you will plug it in to the equation. So in this case, all we have to do is do y is equal to 4, 0 plus 2, 0 minus 1. So that's going to give us 4 times 2 times minus 1. That's going to be 4 times 2 is 8, so 8 into minus 1. And then 8 times minus 1 plus into minus gives us minus 8. That's simple. So we just found the y-intercept of this question. Makes sense, right? How to find the y-intercept. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Because this is, the basic, this is the first step of even plotting in the quadratic equation if we are going to get to plotting. So I hope that concept is clear. And the same idea for the x-intercept. The x, without plotting, find the x-intercepts of the parabolic equation. So without plotting, what we will put, because it's asking for the x-intercepts, we will have to equate y to be equal to 0. So the equation we have is y equal to 3x squared plus 12x plus 9. Okay. To do this, like I said, y is equal to 0. We will plug into the y. So the equation will be 3x squared, or 0 is equal to 3x squared plus 12x plus 9. We can rewrite it so that it's 3x squared plus 12x plus 9 is equal to 0. I just swapped the left and right hand sides. So now we have a basic quadratic equation. You can solve this either using, mod 53 on the calculator, or the way I like to do it is using the quadratic equations, or the quadratic formula, I should say, which is minus b plus square root 4, b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and x2 is minus b minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right. So in this case, our a is 3, our b is 12, and our c is 9. Simply you could just plug in all the values to find x1 and x2. So x1 is going to be equal to minus 12 plus square root of 12 squared minus 4 into a, which is 3, into c, which is 9, divided by 2 times a, which is 3. Same thing will go for x2 is equal to, you basically will just copy paste this. Oops. You'll copy paste this here. All right. But the one difference will be that this will be negative. Okay. If you plug this into the calculator, you will get -1 and -3, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, okay, -1 and -3. That's it. That's how to get the x and y intercepts. Any questions about the x and y intercepts? So you can see here, because we have a quadratic equation, what this means is when we are going to plot this, if we have to plot this, let's say it's something like this. Okay, the value here, this value over here is going to be -1, and this value over here is going to be -3. That's the whole idea of plotting the x-intercepts. Same thing with the y. The y-intercept in this case, like maybe this goes all the way up here, the graph. So this will be the y-intercept in this case, but we didn't find the y-intercept. Just that's the whole concept, though. The idea is we are finding the x and y-intercept to help us to plot, basically, or find the intersection of the function, equation, with either the x-axis or the y-axis. All right. So let us get into actually, plotting. So to plot, there are multiple steps you have to follow. The first step of plotting any quadratic equation is finding the x and y intercepts. So let's start plotting these. So the first step, let's write the equation for part A. Y is equal to x squared plus 5x minus 6. To find the y-intercept, x equals 0. We will get the y-intercept. So by plugging back into the equation, y is equal to 0 squared plus 5 times 0 minus 6. So y is simply, this is 0, this is 0, because 5 times 0 is 0. Y is just equal to -6. Now we found our y-intercept. The next step is to find, so I'm just going to put step 1. Step 2, we find the x-intercept by doing y is equal to 0. To find the x-intercept. So now if we want to plug in y equals 0 into the equation, we will get 0 is equal to x squared plus 5x minus 6 or if we want to rewrite this, it's x squared plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, so if I will do it my way, it's going to be using these two equations, or you could just use mod 5(3). So x1 is going to be equal to minus b plus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a, and x2 is just going to be minus. In this case, our a is equal to 1, our b is equal to 5, and our c is equal to minus 6. Okay? If we plug in back into this equation, x1 is going to be equal to minus 5 plus square root b squared, which is 5 squared, minus 4 times 1, which is a, and minus 6, which is c, all over 2a, and x2 is going to be the exact same thing. It's just this equation. But instead of plus, it's going to be minus. So I believe the first point is 5 squared. Oh, sorry. So it's not, well, it is 2a, but the a in this case is 1. So it's 2 into 1, 2 into 1. And this will give 24. 1, no, sorry. This is 1. And this should be minus 5, 6, minus 6. I did this in my head, so it would be nice if you guys could just double check if my work is right here. Okay. If you notice in the question, it just says find the axis of symmetry and turning points of the following parabolas. But I'm solving part A completely, and I want to plot it just so you guys have an idea of how the plotting works. Now, so we finished step 1 and step 2. We found our y and x intercepts. So the y-intercept is equal to minus 6. And the x-intercepts is equal to 1 and minus 6. Okay? Now, step 3 is finding the axis of symmetry, or you could call this the vertical line of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry. What is the axis of symmetry? So let's say if we have a plot like this, the axis of symmetry is this line over here that goes right through the turning point, which we'll talk about, which is this. This is the turning point. So this is called the axis of symmetry. We need to find this so we can, know where the curve will be symmetric on both sides. What does symmetry mean? معناته this side should look exactly, but on the opposite side. That's why it's called axis of symmetry. So to find the axis of symmetry, we just have to apply this equation, which is x is equal to minus b over 2a. In our case, our b is 5, so it's minus 5 over 2a, which is 2 times 1. So it is equal to minus 2.5. So what does this mean? This x is equal to minus 2.5. What does this mean? This means that this point over here, where the axis of symmetry is, this point over here is minus 2.5. So x here is equal to minus 2.5. We're on the x-axis. So this axis of symmetry, all of it, is a vertical line that goes through x equal to minus 2.5. So we found our axis of symmetry. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions about the axis of symmetry? Because all the plotting is exactly the same way. So I want, I'm going to go step by step, and I want to make sure everyone understands these steps. All right, perfect. I'm glad. So this is easy so far, and it's all easy, to be honest. Plotting should be very easy for you guys. So now you heard me mention that we have the turning point. The turning point is basically the point at which the curve, changes direction. So over here, in this case, over here, this is the turning point. Okay? So we need to find the value of that turning point so that we know where the middle of our graph will be. Turning point. So the turning point, the way you can find it is by substituting the x found here back into the main equation. So if you want to go look at the main equation again, this is the main equation. All right. And we will substitute the value x. So we will substitute x is equal to minus 2.5. We will substitute this number into the x's over here. And that's it. So the idea is to find the y coordinate. Because if you notice in the graph over here, we have the x coordinate, which is minus 2.5, but we don't know where the y is. This y. We need to find the value of this y. For example, maybe it's positive, maybe it's negative. I'm not sure of how the graph looks. I'm just using this graph to explain how, the idea, the concept. So when we substitute minus 2.5 back here, so the equation will be x is equal to minus 2.5 squared. Make sure when you're putting this in the calculator, you're putting the minus inside the bracket, not outside, or inside the parentheses, plus 5 times minus 2.5 minus 6. So y is equal to minus 2.5 squared, which is 6.25. Minus, because plus times minus, and 5 times minus 2.5 is 12.5. Minus 6. And if we put this all in a calculator, the answer we'll get is y is equal to minus 12.25. Okay? So this is for when the x value is equal to minus 2.5. So what was the point of this? We got the coordinate point, the coordinates, minus 2.5 and minus 12.25 for the turning point. This is our turning point. Okay? Now, the last step is the actual plotting. So does anyone have any questions about any of the steps I've done so far? Great, so it's clear. So just to start plotting, you're going to need the values that we found from each step. So y is equal to minus 6. I'm just going to bring this down here. This is our y-intercept. Y and x is equal to 1 and minus 6. So x is equal to 1. This is the y-intercept. Okay, this is the x-intercept. X is equal to, I believe, 1, and x is equal to minus 6. Just double checking. Yes, 1 and minus 6. The axis of symmetry point, or just the turning point in general. So the turning point which is minus 2.5 minus 12.25. Okay, so these are the points. We got these each from each step. Just to recap before I plot, first step was finding the y-intercept, and we found it by getting x equal to 0. Then we equalized y to 0 to find x-intercept. Then after that, we found the axis of symmetry by using this equation, minus b over 2a for x, which is going to give us minus 2.5. Then we use the value we found for x and substitute it back in the equation, in the main equation, to find the value of y, to determine our turning point. So by putting it back, we got this turning point minus 2.5 and the y is minus 12.25. Okay, so that's always the steps you will follow for plotting a quadratic equation. يعني ما بنعوض ب x1 or x2. No, the idea is not trying to find the solution of y for x1 and x2. The idea is trying to find the turning point itself, because when you find x equal to minus b over 2a, we are just finding one point, which is minus 2.5. The axis of symmetry بس بيكون رقم واحد اللي بيطلع لك في الجواب, which is minus 2.5. إذا أنت عوضت x1 و x2, okay, if we plug these back into the equation will give us 0, because we found this by equating y equals 0. This is the solution of the quadratic equation. This is the solution of the quadratic equation when it's equal to 0. So when you're plugging in x1 and x2 back into this equation, y will be equal to 0. And that's the point, because we want to find the y-intercept, or sorry, the x-intercept, which is when y is equal to 0. فما بنعوض ب x1 or x2. We will find the axis of symmetry by using this equation, minus b over 2a, which in this case was minus 2.5, which is only one value for x. وبنعوض this هالرقم into the equation. So we can find the y part of the turning point. لأن هني we found the x part, which is the vertical line, but we didn't find the horizontal part, which is the y, the y part of the equation. So we can find this blue point here, the blue x. So we can start plotting. So now if you want to plot, okay, this is our x-axis and this is our y-axis. Okay, so we first plot the intercepts. The idea is to we found the intercepts, so we can start plotting them. So by plotting the intercepts, y is equal to minus 6. So we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here. This is minus 6. So we have to go downwards. Okay, so we're going to go down because it's minus. So let's say over here is minus 6. This is our y-intercept, minus 6. Okay. Now, if we have to plot the x-intercepts. So we have the x-intercept over here, x equal to 1, and x is equal to minus 6. Let's say about here. Okay. طبعا يعني on a proper graph paper, you will have, the boxes and you will follow the boxes, but I'm just doing a quick sketch to show you how the idea of plotting. Okay. So we have 1, minus 6, the x-intercepts, and we have minus 6. So we know the graph has to go through these points. Now, remember at the very beginning, when I was explaining just the idea of a parabola here, I was saying the curve is either upwards or downwards, depending on the sign of A. So in our case, if A is positive, it's going to be upwards. If A is negative, it's going to be downwards. In our case, the A is positive. The A here is positive. A is equal to plus 1. So because it's positive, we know it's going to take this shape. So it has to be pointing upwards. Okay? So now we know the curve is going to be looking something يعني like this, basically. We know it's going to look like a U and not like an N. All right? Now, we plotted our intercepts. Now we have to plot the turning point itself. So we know if the curve is, we know where the middle point or the axis of symmetry of the curve is. So the turning point is minus 2.5. Let's say it's about somewhere here. That's x equal to minus 2.5. And the y part is minus 12.5. So if you go a bit lower and extend this a bit more, so this is minus 6. Let's say minus 12.5 is roughly somewhere around here. Minus 12.25, I believe, right? 12.25. Okay? So these are the coordinates of my turning point. So we know that this, if we take it all the way down here and match with here, this is going to be our turning point itself. So this is the turning point. So now we know the curve is going to go upwards here and it's going to go upwards here, because this is also, this axis over here is the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry. So we know that this axis has to be in the middle of our plot. Okay? If we draw it, now if we actually want to draw the plot itself, we're going to start from here, and we have to make sure that the points cross, like the line, crosses the points which are the intercepts, the y-intercept in this case and the x-intercept over here. So it will look something roughly like that. Okay, I know it's not straight, it should be straight, but this is just the general idea. Let me redraw it so it looks a bit better. So it's going to look something like this. And the other side is also going to go up, and it has to pass through the x-intercept. So make sure these points are being crossed, and this point as well is being crossed. And I know it doesn't look very pretty, but this is basically how you draw, like how you draw the parabola of a quadratic equation. Does that make sense? Yani obviously it would look something more like this, you know, or like this, but يعني على الكمبيوتر it's a bit difficult to to draw it properly. على ورقة وقلم it's going to be much easier, you know. On paper it's so much easier to draw. If you have any questions you can ask. Go ahead.
عندي سؤال. ال turning points أنا ما بحط الخط عليهم صح؟ I'm not gonna draw on them.
You're not going to draw what بالضبط يعني؟ شو قصدك؟
I mean إنه الخط مالي بيكون بس على ال X and Y.
الخط مالك بيكون على turning point بعد. يعني قصدك الفاينل drawing البارابولا؟
Yes.
امبلا
turning point
البارابولا it will be on the turning point. The
Okay.
start point is the turning point. So this is another point it has to be intersecting. بس شو فكرة the turning point? It shows you where the left side is and where the right side is of your curve. So تعرفين وين, you know, the curve turns basically. So this is the turning point. The graph will go through the turning point. البارابولا يعني بيكون رايح عن طريق the turning point. Any other questions? This is the whole concept of week 6. Did I answer your question? Okay, I believe I did. حد بعد عنده سؤال؟ في شيء مو واضح؟ Okay, fine, perfect. So the same concepts will be applied. تفضل حسن. Ask your question. Okay, maybe you're just raising your hand without talking. تمام. You have a question, Hassan? Oh, okay. This is linear. This is from week 5. خلينا نخلص ويا week 6 أول. بعدين if you have any questions about week 5, you can refer to either Sara's videos later or tomorrow's session, or after tomorrow's session بيكون recap عن كل شيء. If we have time by the end of the session, because I'm trying to finish week 6 and week 7, so if I have time, I will answer your question, inshallah. All right, so we can move on. Do you guys want me to solve another one, or is the concept very clear? You want me to solve C to see how it is, يعني if the A is negative? Let's solve part C. Okay, let's just do C because I want to show you if the A is negative, it's going to be in a downward, like in an N shape, not a U shape. So the equation is y is equal to minus x squared plus 4x minus 4. Keep in mind, here the question isn't asking me to plot. The question here is just asking me to find the axis of symmetry and turning points. بس I'm just plotting عشان I, get the concept, make it just clear for everyone. تمام? So we will do part C. So this is part C. This was a 4, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, plus 4x minus 4. Okay. So again, we follow the steps. First step, I want you guys to interact a bit with me عشان أتأكد إن كلكم فاهمين النقطة. What is the first step? Can you write in chat what the first step should be? Of plotting a quadratic equation. حلو. y-intercept. So to find y-intercept, we have to do x equals 0 and plug into the equation. So y will be equal to minus 0 squared plus 4 times 0 minus 4. Y is going to be equal to, this goes to 0, 4 times 0 is 0, y is going to be equal to minus 4. We found our y-intercept. Second step. Second step is the x-intercept. So when y is equal to 0. So x, we need to find the x value, which is 0 is going to be equal to x squared or minus x squared plus 4x minus 4. If we rewrite this equation, it's going to be minus x squared plus 4x minus 4 is equal to 0. You know how to solve quadratic equations. In my case, I always use x1, x2. Let me just copy paste. تعبت وأنا أكتب الإكويشن. All right. So we will use these equations. x1 and x2. We know that a is equal to minus 1 or mod 5.3. You can also use mod 5.3. No, not an issue. So a is equal to minus 1, b is equal to 4, c is equal to minus 4. Tamam. We can plug into these equations. So x1 is going to be equal to minus b, which is minus 4, plus square root b squared, which is 4 squared, minus 4 times minus 1 times c, which is 4, minus 4, sorry, over to a in this case being minus 1. Keep in mind our a is negative 1 this time, okay? Again, copy, paste. This is going to be the exact same thing, but this is going to be x2, and it's equal to plus, equal to minus here. Okay. 2 and minus 1. Okay, I'm going to take your word for it. 69 minus 4. 2 and minus 1. Then, so these are our x-intercepts. We found x equal to minus 1 and x is equal to 2. These are our two x-intercepts. Tamam? Step 3. What was step 3? Step 3, finding the axis of symmetry. شنو axis of symmetry equation? X is equal to minus b over 2a. Okay? After that, we just plug in the values, minus b. B in our case is 4. So minus 4 over 2. What is our a? Perfect. Minus 1. Okay. If we solve this, x is equal to, put it in just the calculator, or we can solve it here. Minus and minus will cancel 4 over 2. X is equal to 2. x is equal to 2, not minus 2. Because we have a minus here, and we're going to have a minus here. If you put this in the calculator, it will give you 2. Okay? So, moving on. Step 4 is finding the turning points. The turning point, I should say. Okay? Turning point, you just substitute back into the main equation. This is the equation we have. What are we going to substitute? X equal to 2, the value here. We're going to substitute it back. So by substituting, y is equal to minus. Remember here, the minus is outside, okay? So parentheses, substitute for x, 2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 4. This is equal to 2 squared is 4, so minus 4. Okay? Make sure the minus here, okay, is on the outside. Don't put it inside the parentheses. So minus 4 plus 4 times 2 is 8 minus 4, which is going to be equal to 0. Now, if you notice, the turning point here is when y is equal to 0. And in حين y is equal to 0. When y equals 0, we're basically finding the x-intercept. So معناتها هاي x equal 2 is one of the y-intercepts, one of the x-intercepts, which makes sense because when we go back to our solution here, بتشوفون إن هني, one of the solution is 2, which is the x-intercept. So one of the turning points is when x is equal to 2. Okay? Or sorry, one of our x-intercepts is a part of the turning point. Does that make sense? Now, when we want to go to graphing, and then a y-intercept, which was equal to minus 4, I think, صح? Minus 4, y equal to minus 4, and then x-intercept, اللي هو x equals 0, x equal minus 1, and x is equal to 2, and then a turning point, which is the turning point here, our x value is 2, our y value is 0, so it is 2, 0. Okay, when we go to graphing, this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis, we plot the intercepts, so y equal to minus 4, it's going to be over here, minus 4, x is equal to minus 1 is over here, and x equal to 2 is over here. So this is x equal to 2. This is x equal to minus 1. I need to double check something. Did we do everything correct here? Two times minus 1. Okay. I feel يعني يمكن في غلطة هني. Just 1 second. 4 squared minus 4 times minus 1 minus 4. صح. Okay, everything looks fine. So we have here the intercepts. Okay, our axis of symmetry should be here. In red. Our axis of symmetry should be here. في شيء I'm not sure what exactly is wrong with graphing this one. لأن ال turning point طالع نفس ال x intercept. The graph should be eventually something like this. زين. But لأن we have an intercept here of -1. أنتم متأكدين من ال quadratic equations لا؟ من ال points هني؟ لأن أنا خذيت من عندكم أنتم فبس let me make sure everything is right. X equal -4. Yeah, this is correct. This is the turning point. This is x -1. This is x -4. ثواني بس. I want to make sure. Again. -4 minus square root 4 squared minus. -1 into -4. Okay. Someone told me ان x2 is equal to -1 بعد بس لا لأن x2 is also going to be equal to 2. Both are 2 لأن this is one solution. ليش؟ لأن when you are doing this معادلة هني 4 squared minus 4 squared بيستوي it's going to be equal to 0 فالجواب بيكون -4 over 2 into -1 حق both cases. So it's equal to 2 for both. So that's the reason that's the mistake I found. So يعني ما عندنا إحنا x2 عندنا بس x1 and the solution for this problem is only x1. So x is only equal to 2. Okay? So this is our x-intercept. So we only have one x-intercept, which makes sense now. We only have one x-intercept, which is x is equal to 2. Okay? So this is not an x-intercept. Which now makes even more sense. ليش؟ لأن turning point, our turning point, we found it to be exactly at the x-intercept. Because the turning point على x-intercept معناته it's going to go downwards through the y-intercept and it's going to go downwards here like that. Make sense? Because both of them are 2, because we have only one x-intercept, it means that the turning point, the intersection ماله بس it goes through x one time, not twice. لأن مثل ما تشوفون it starts from there. So this is the case. It's the reason it's downwards is because a is negative in this case. All right, everything makes sense. Sorry for the confusion, and then I just took in the numbers. I should have calculated them myself. بس برد أعيد. هني the mistake I did was I just copied these numbers from chat. I didn't check them myself. But the solution for both of these, all right, the solution for both of these is equal to 2. So we don't have any other solution. We only have one intercept basically. All right. لأن لو if you put both of these in the calculator الحين بيطلع لكم نفس الجواب. معناته we only have one x-intercept. تمام. And that's fine. It's not a problem. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. عيل في المود 5.3 بيكون في غلطة. خليني أنا أجرب أسويها عن طريق مود 5.3. If you guys have questions you can ask in chat. I will just double check here how ليش الغلطة تصير قاعدة في مود 5.3. So our A is -1. our B is 4 and our C is minus 4. يطلع لي only x equal 2. اتأكدي من طريقة حلك. اتأكدي you are putting in the right numbers. أنا بعد يطلع لي best 2. Okay. Let me check if anyone has any questions. If we're looking for x-intercept, we put y as 0. And if we look for y-intercept, we put x as 0. Yes, correct, exactly. If you want to find the y-intercept, we need to find the value for y, we put x equals 0. شو المنطق من ورا? What is the idea behind this? يعني in the graph, in the graph, we have x and y. If we want to find the point on x, for example, okay, the y value of it has to be 0. هني 0 حق الواي value. الواي value لازم يكون 0. ليش؟ لأنه we want to find the point here of x على ال x line يكون exactly on the x axis. ف you know logically بالمنطق لازم الواي value مالنا يكون 0. نفس الشيء حق ال x intercept. أو سوري حق الواي intercept. إذا بغينا إحنا نطلع point هني. أوكي؟ on intercepting لازم ال x value مالنا يكون 0. يكون هني على هالبوينت. لازم يكون 0. ليش؟ لأنه ما نبغى يكون value يمين يسار. We want it exactly on the y axis. That's why we put y-intercept x is equal to 0 and x-intercept y is equal to 0. تمام؟ Any questions about this at all? In general about the whole, I think because this is the entire concept. يعني خلصنا المفروض. حتى worksheet 2 it's similar. We will look at them now, but it's exactly the same thing. بس بعدين بنشوف لأن worksheet 2 is actually doing the graphing and sketching. يعني worksheet 2 these are the questions. Find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Find the y and x-intercepts of the axis of symmetry and the turning points for the following parabolas and then sketch them to make a table. Find your findings. Make a table يعني شو بتسوون؟ خلينا ناخذ بس يعني example. إنزين. زين لو نبغى ناخذ أول شيء part A. إنزين. is equal to y equal to 18 plus 3x minus x squared. You are all advanced enough now. فاهمين الوضع عدل. You have to put الأوردرينج صح عشان يكون أسهل لكم بس. ف y is equal to نودي ال minus x squared هني. ف minus x squared plus 3x plus 18. الفكرة هني إنه بس نبغى نخليه مرتب عشان we can use it in the same form اللي هو ax squared plus bx plus c. زين. ف انزين قبل ما نحل السؤال انا الحين عندي سؤال حقكم اباكم you answer. Is the answer 1 or 2? The curve, is it going to be like this or is it going to be like this? يلا. Answer 1 if it's going to be 1, answer 2 if it's going to be 2. زين. Can you tell me why it's 2 everyone? تكتبون لي why, what the reason you said it is 2. صح هو بس ليش؟ بالضبط لأن ال A value مالنا is negative. A is equal to minus 1. لأن عندنا minus 1 هني لأن negative we know it's going to be downwards. Okay? لما تشوفون negative you will be sad. When you see positive you are going to be happy. أنا كذي تعلمتها أيام المدرسة يعني. So when you see a negative you're going to be sad. When you see a positive you're going to be happy. فsmiling وsad. يعني لو حطيتوا هني عينين في النص هاي smiling أو عينين هني قصدي smiling وهاي لو حطيتوا له عينين هني he's sad. بس. That's another way if you want to يعني memorize. زين ف حلو هاي أول سؤال. That was just from me. الحين if we read the question, find the y x-intercept axis symmetry turning points. الستبس اللي سويناهم 1 to 4 وميك a table. فشو المفروض تسوون؟ يكون عندكم table something like this. إنزين عندكم y intercept، عندكم x intercept، عندكم axis of symmetry اللي هو بيكون x، يعني a value for x equal، بعدين بيكون عندكم turning point اللي هو x y coordinates. alright. نفس ما سوينا قبل we will do all the exact steps عشان نطلع ال y intercept بيكون x equal 0، x intercept بيكون y equal 0 وبيكون quadratic equation we have to solve it. axis of symmetry بيكون x is equal to minus b over 2a، وبعدين هني we will substitute في equation عشان نطلع y at x equal minus b over 2a اللي هو بما معناه ان نطلع الفاليو هني مال هالاكس، نطلع الفاليو هني ونعوضه في الواي في الاكس سوري في المين equation in the main equation بس عشان نطلع ال coordinates x y. تمام. ما بحله عشان we can go directly to week 7. Look at worksheet 2 the student worksheet 2 إذا عندكم أي أسئلة من الحين يعني you can ask عشان I can move on to simultaneous and I think that one is a bit more heavy أو I don't know is it simultaneous ولا هو multiple plotting؟ هو simultaneous okay عشان I go to simultaneous. زين before moving on كان في حد عنده سؤال قبل شوي عن week 5 وحد ثاني بعد كان عنده سؤال. Just to answer your questions طالما we have a bit of time let me just answer some of your questions اللي سألتوه من قبل. أول سؤال حد سألني the gradient of a line is 2. زين شو يعني gradient؟ Can people tell me what does the gradient mean؟ له مسمى ثاني، شو المسمى الثاني؟ حد يتذكر gradient from week 5 هو السلوب exactly. فلو تتذكرون equation of a line الحين قاعدين we're just revision of week 5 حد لنا سألني سؤال mx plus c عندنا هني ال m which is the slope or gradient وعندنا ال c يلا الشاطر اللي يتذكر يقول لي شنو كان ال c؟ Who remembers what c was؟ ال y intercept exactly ال y intercept والحين حفظتوا شو يعني y intercept. y intercept when x equals 0 تطلعون ال y. تمام؟ very easy very straightforward. هاي السؤال خلينا نكمل نشوف السؤال بس هذاك 1 second ضيعت السؤال ال gradient okay so it says the question says the gradient of a line the gradient is equal to 2 زين يعني بما معناه m is equal to 2 the line passes through a point the point is 514 and this is a point هذا ال x طبعا وهذا ال y of the point. Find the equation of the straight line. ممتاز. Let me just solve this for whoever sent me this message على السريع لأن it's very straightforward. عندنا ال m. أول شيء عندنا ال m equation مال m شنو قبل كان احنا we have m so we don't have to use the equation to find it بس m is equal to the difference y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 صح ولا لا؟ That's our m. زين so يعني we can say this is equal to 2 لأن we already know that m is equal to 2. عندنا ال points x و y 5 و 14. These are points that can be used يعني these are points on the line. So what do we need to first find? We need to find, we found m, we have m, so we don't need to find the m. The equation of a line, we have to find two things. أول شيء m, which we already have. بعدين we need to find the c. So how do we find c? We already know these are points on the line. We already know that our x and y are, these are points on the line. اللي هو x equal 5. بس. x is equal to 5. y is equal to 14. All you have to do is you substitute the x y back into the equation. فهني x اللي هو 5 y you have to substitute the y value. So the equation will be something like this. Y is equal to 14 is equal to m. M عندنا إياه to be equal to 2 from up here. M is equal to 2 given in the question. Times x, which is 5, plus c. And now you can find c. It's one equation with one unknown. فشو اللي بتسوون 14 is equal to 2 times 5 is 10 plus c. So 14 بنودي 10 الصوب الثاني. 14 minus 10 is equal to c. c is equal to 14 minus 10 is 4. So now the equation of the line is y is equal to m, which is 2 already given, x plus c, which is 4. Does that make sense? منو اللي سأل؟ Sara. Sara, does that make sense? Did I answer your question? I'm gonna assume I did. طبعا ما حصلت جواب. Someone else also asked me a question. كان من week 1. Oh, sorry, week 5. عن هذا الجراف. شو كان السؤال؟ The equation of the below graph. انزين. This is the straight line. So to find the equation of a straight line, this is going to be the form y is equal to mx plus c. ونعرف ان ال m is equal to y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. الsteps عشان you find the equation of a line from a graph, you have to first find 2 points. Usually my recommendation is to look for points that are easy to spot. Let me, I just أكبر الصورة هاي شوي. إنزين. So find points that are easy to take يعني. But let's take this point as our first point اللي هو هني. ليش؟ لأن easily we can see that the coordinates of this point ال x ماله 0. It's the y-intercept. وال y ماله 3. Okay, so this is our first point. Point 1. Now we look for another point. Let's take this point. يعني the reason I didn't take this point over here لأن الرقم يعني ال x value is between 1 and 2. It's not clear if it's 1.4, 1.5. It should be 1.5, but it's not that clear. So I will take a point that is very clear like this one. لأن هني ال x value ماله 1 وال y value ماله 1. So this is point 2. Okay? So this is the first step. You have to determine 2 points. And then we need to now apply this equation عشان نطلع ال slope. So first thing was we need to find the slope. So to find the slope عندنا الحين ال coordinate هاي point 1 و point 2. فبنسوي point 2 minus point 1 نفس هني. يعني m is equal to y2 اللي هو 1. زين بس عشان يكون واضح هذه y2 هذه x2 هذه x1 هذه y1. Okay, this is x2 y2 x1 y1, and now you'll just plug into the equation بس تعوضون. So 1 minus 3 divided by x2 is 1 minus x1, which is 0, which is equal to 1 minus 3 is minus 2, 1 minus 0 is 1, so the slope is minus 2. Now, we found the slope. What else do we need? Just a reminder, equation of a line is y mx plus c. We need the c now. We found the slope, we need the c. What is c? Y-intercept. Y-intercept is what? When x equals 0. When x equal to 0, what is y? It's equal to 3. Very straightforward. From the graph, you just look at the point على الاكس على الواي axis that's your y intercept. So C يساوي 3. So the equation is going to be y is equal to minus 2x plus C, which is 3. تمام. Clear to whoever asked. I think Hassan Khan who asked this question. Hassan, is this clear? Okay, تمام. We can move on. This was just a recap from week 5. Yani this is all here. Week 5 recap. زين. نكمل لweek 7. Week 6 for the C, can we use y1 or y2? لا, for the C, it's always the y-intercept. For C, it's y-intercept. شو يعني y-intercept؟ معناته it is the intersection of this line with the y-axis. البوينت هني y value هني اللي هو 3 هذا اللي بتاخذونه. ليش؟ لأنه it is where the intersection is. أو mathematically it's when x is equal to 0. يطلع لك y-intercept. Okay? You cannot just take any point. لازم تاخذون specifically هذا. الواي 2 ما ناخذه حق الواي انترسبت. حق الواي انترسبت is simply just الفاليو يوم الاكسس قاعد يضرب اللاين قاعد يضرب الاكسس. اي في هالحاله واي 1 ليش خذينا واي 1؟ مو لانه بس واي 1، لا، لانه في هالحاله الاكس 1 مالنا زيرو، فيوم اكس 1 يوم الاكس يساوي زيرو يعطيك الواي انترسبت. عشان شي فلو الاكس مالنا ما كان زيرو ما نقدر ناخذ هالرقم، لازم ناخذ الرقم مال واي يوم الاكس يساوي زيرو. تمام. Okay. For week 4, there's already a video posted on YouTube and on Teams, I believe. There's already a video posted because I covered all the topics there. So you can just refer to the video for any questions you have about it. لأن I went right through it. زين. تمام. Let's go to week 7. Do you guys want me to continue or do you guys want to take a break? على راحتكم يعني عادي if the session يعني I extended a bit. Okay, we'll take just a 5-minute break. زين. We'll take a 5-minute break لأن I want you guys تريحون شوي، بالكم يكون فاضي، عشان لأن هاي last part اللي هو week 7. Okay, I want to make sure everyone grasps the concept very well. يكون متصحصح شوي. روحوا سووا لكم شاي coffee whatever you need. Just we'll take 5 minutes or let's say 7-minute break. زين. We will come back at 1. Let's say 1:20. All right, is that okay with everyone? الحين بطرشش الفيديو in the chat مال week 4. Is this okay with everyone? Is it okay if we take a break? تمام. Anything I taught personally is recorded, but I believe also Sara كل topics that she did is also recorded. أنا للأسف بس يعني بيكون recordings مالي week 4, week 6, week 7. So this session يعني is recorded والweek 4 اللي سويته 2 days ago that's already recorded and uploaded. الحين I'm just gonna send you the link in chat. For the remaining videos, Sara said she will upload them. As soon as she does, she will send the links tonight or by tomorrow, and I will send it to all of you guys if you didn't receive it. لأن I believe she has your emails already وإن شاء الله بطرشكم إياه يعني directly. إذا ما وصل لكم إياه ليه باكر قولوا الظهر أو العصر. You can message me or message Sarah directly وإن شاء الله we will get the videos. Just keep in mind أنا my videos I don't have them يعني public. They're all unlisted on YouTube. What that means is يعني إن الفيديو إذا عندك اللينك تقدر تشوفه بس بدون اللينك ما تقدر تروح الشانل مالي وتشوفه واضح. أنا I'm just doing it that way عشان لان هني عندنا تيمز ووايد ناس واساميهم طالعه وكذي فحق شويه برايفسي يكون انه بس حق طلبه الجامعه it's not publicly available for everyone but anyone who has a link can access يعني لو تروحون الشانل بيج مالي بتشوفون ما في شيء فاضي بس يعني اللينكس كله موجودين عن طريق اللينك you can access all the videos. اللي حاب يسأل أي سؤال or any questions you have اللي سويناه في week 6 right now or even if you have questions about week 5. أظني someone sent some photos مال week 5 he wants me to solve على السريع. I will just go through them really quickly. If you have any other questions يعني ask them now before I start week 7. Okay, what I will do is actually better. I will do week 7 then. I will solve here لأن week 7 basically يعني it covers the same concepts as week 5. So what I will do is I will solve week 7 أول زين. I'll do a quick recap الحين عن البارابولز على السريع. بس لأنه week 7 covers both straight lines and parabolas و it's simultaneous equations. So I'll just do a quick recap of week 6 اللي هو البارابولز زين. The idea is if we have an equation, okay, we find the y-intercept first, which is in this case -4. We find the x-intercept. By يعني the y-intercept, you equate x to 0 and find y. X-intercept, you find y equal to 0 and find the value for x. In this case, we only had one x-intercept. You can have one or two, like one or two values for x, for the intercept. And then we find the equation of the axis of symmetry for x, اللي هو -b over 2a. In this case, it's also the same as the excuse me, as it's the same as the x-intercept. نرد نحطها في الايكويشن الاساسي الواي عشان نطلع الواي الcoordinate points مال turning point is 2 0. Then you have the y-intercept, the x-intercept, and the turning point. You plot the turning point, you plot the intercepts, and then you draw the axis of symmetry, and then you draw the graph that has to go through each point, the intercepts and the turning point. Okay. Now, to start week 7, let's see the first question. So sketch the graph and find the solution of the following simultaneous equations. So the whole idea of week 7 is we need to sketch the graph, and then these are all linear equations. So this is going to be somewhat of a recap of week 5 as well. We will sketch the simultaneous equations into the graph, and we need to find their solutions. Now, to do that, we need to do a quick recap on simultaneous equations, which is week 4. So our first equation is yx is equal to 3x plus 2. Our second equation is y plus 2x is equal to 7. There are two ways of solving this. There are a lot of ways of solving this, but the two main ways to solve it is using either substitution or elimination. Okay? So the way to do this with substitution is we're gonna, equate all of it to either y or x. We're gonna put basically one variable by itself, and if we want to do it by elimination, we're gonna line them up properly on top of each other, and then we will solve. So let's do it first. Like let's graph the first one through substitution. Okay. So before that, let's just recap how to graph one line. So y is equal to 3x plus 2. How do we plot this? So if we want to just plot y is equal to 3x plus 2, it's very, very simple. Always find the same as the same case in the parabola, يعني in the quadratic equations, find the y-intercept. So when x is equal to 0, ونعوض, y is going to be equal to 3 times 0 plus 2. So what's our y-intercept? Y is going to be equal to, this goes to 0, y is equal to 2. Okay? X-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 3x plus 2. Solve this equation, we'll take the 2 to the other side. So 3x is equal to, or minus 2 is equal to 3x. Okay. And then if we want to solve for x, we divide, I'm just going to rewrite this so the x is on the left side is equal to minus 2. We divide by 3 for both sides. Okay. And cancel the 3. Therefore, x is equal to minus 2 over 3, which is, if you put in the calculator, it's minus 0.667. Okay? Now, to plot this line, we first plot our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is y is equal to 2. Hello? Y is equal to 2. The x-intercept is 0.667, something like بس أتأكد. It's minus 0.667. So it's going to be on this side, minus 0.667. And then we just have 2 points. We can draw the line very simply. Okay. If in this case مثلا, in this case, عندنا رقم, with decimals, it's not exactly clear how to plot this. يعني ما عندنا box مكتوب 0.667. You can choose a third point to make sure. يعني you can choose a third point like x is equal to 1 مثلا. And then we will solve the equation, the same equation, with x is equal to 1. So in this case, y is 3x plus 2. So if we substitute this 1, it's going to be y is equal to 3 times 1 plus 2. Y is equal to 3 plus 2, which is equal to 5. So another point on this line should be 1, 5. Okay? We go to x is 1. This is 1. Okay, this is x equal to 2 over here. This is x equal to minus 0.67. X is equal to 1. And if we go all the way up here, this is going to be y is equal to 5. This is another point. So for example, we could just find these 2 points and we will draw the exact same line. Okay, that makes sense, right? How to plot a single line. So if we want now to plot the second line, y plus 2x is equal to 7 on the same graph. Let's do the solution here. So y is equal to 2x plus 7. صح؟ هذا هو y. لا, sorry, y plus 2x is equal to 7. Okay. Y plus 2x is equal to 7. Is equal to 7. All right. So when x is equal to 0, we are finding the y-intercept. X is equal to 0. معناته y plus 2 times 0 is equal to 7. This goes to 0. Y is equal to 7. So we found our first point, which is y equal 7. So y equals 7 is going to be somewhere around here. Okay, this is our y-intercept, 7. Now we need the second point. So, we could either do y equals 0 to find the x-intercept. So for example, y equals 0 is going to be 0 plus 2x is equal to 7. معناته 2x equals 7. We divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to 7 over 2, which is equal to x is equal to basically 3.5. Again, if you see a decimal and you don't like it, you can always use a third point, like, for example, x equal to 1 or y is equal to 1. It doesn't matter which points you choose. أهم شيء, you can choose any 2 points. The reason I always go with y-intercept, x-intercept, it just makes it easier to plot on the graph. So x equal to 3.5. If we draw that, x is equal to 3.5 is going to be somewhere around here. 3.5. And then the drawing of the second line will be something like this تقريبا. Okay. Now, you see, we just plotted the whole both graphs. So why are we going to be solving the simultaneous equation? So the idea of solving the simultaneous equation is to find this point over here, اللي هو the intersection of the two graphs. زين, the intersection of the graphs. أو ممكن يسمونهم السولوشن مال two graphs. تمام؟ As you can see, لأن I'm sketching this, it's not exactly بالضبط صح, فما نقدر, if you properly sketch it, you could just find the coordinates directly from the graph. بس what if in the case يقول لكم without graphing, find the solution of this graph. Okay? So how will we do this? We will solve the simultaneous equation. So now to solve the simultaneous equation, like I said, there are 2 methods. In this case, I will use the elimination method just to, you can use any method, but I will do both methods. I'll start with elimination. So elimination. First step in elimination is you have to have the y's and the x's on the left and the other numbers on the right, everything else on the right of the equation. So in this case, we already have the second equation. Yani the second equation, this is the first equation. The second equation, it's already lined up. The first equation, we're just going to have to move the 3x over here. So it's going to be y minus 3x is equal to 2. And the second equation, we'll rewrite it as y plus 2x is equal to 7. If you remember, the idea of elimination is we need to cancel or eliminate one of these variables. In this case, it's easier to eliminate y because it doesn't have any coefficient next to it like 3 or any numbers. So, but to do that, we have to make sure that the signs, if you remember from the previous session, the signs have to be opposite of each other. So right now this is plus and this is plus. Because they are both positive, we're going to have to multiply one of the equations with a negative. So in this case, we will multiply the first equation by -1. So multiplied by -1. So we can cancel or eliminate the y's. Of course, if you're multiplying this by -1, you're going to have to multiply everything else in the equation by -1. So this is times -1 times -1 times -1. If we rewrite the equation, it's going to be -y plus, or let's just write it fully عشان تشوفون الحل. Minus 3x times -1 is equal to 2 times -1. Okay, so to simplify this, it's minus y. Minus times minus is positive because they're all the same sign. Minus times minus is positive, so it's going to be plus. 3x times 1 is just 3x is equal to 2 times -1 because this is plus. Plus times minus is minus, opposite signs. So 2 times 1 is just 2. All right. And now we will rewrite equation 2, which is y plus 2x is equal to 7. This is just the second equation, equation 2. So this is equation 1. This is equation 2 of the simultaneous equation. And now we will add these two equations. We will add these two equations. The steps to do this is go step by step. We will write the first term, so minus y. The second term, plus y. The third term, don't forget the sign with it, plus 3x. Fourth term, plus 2x. Equal sign, لأنه وصلنا الإيكوال sign. Minus 2, minus 2. هذا كأنه plus 7, plus 7. All right? As you can notice, this will go to 0. Minus y plus y is equal to 0. بيبقى لنا في equation 3x plus 2x. 3 plus 2 is 5, so it's 5x is equal to minus 2 plus 7 is 5. So x is equal to 1. All right, we found our x value. Now we need to find the y value. How do we do that? We can just substitute this x value in one of the two equations. You could choose any of the two equations. So we know that x is equal to 1. Let's take equation 1, for example. Y is equal to 3. Y equal to 3x plus 2. So when we are solving, we're going to just plug in the x here, the value of 1. So 3 times 1 plus 2. Y is equal to 3 plus 2. Y is equal to 5. So our solution is x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 5. This point is the point of intersection. يعني, this is where the graphs are meeting each other at this point over here. And if you notice, يعني from the sketch, تقريبا it is correct. يعني تشوفونه هني, this is going to 0.5 and this is going to يعني point y equal 5 or x equal 1. So this point over here, this point over here is 1, 5. So I showed you how to solve this without graphing or plotting or anything. We're just solving the simultaneous equation. So this is the point of intersection or the solution of the graphs. All right. And that's it. This is the whole concept of solving and plotting or sketching simultaneous, in this case, linear systems and non-linear equations. We're not using a parabola. No need for symmetry here لأن احنا هني we're talking about linear equations ما عندهم parabolas. In the case of parabola, when you're plotting the parabola, you need to find the symmetry. Symmetry is only required when you are plotting the parabola. Okay, only during plotting and graphing. No other case. Any questions? Because this is the whole concept. This is the whole idea. I'm gonna do also part B again, just to give you guys an idea of the solution. But I will do it using substitution, just to revise basically the method of substitution. So, any questions before I move on? Is everything clear? X plus 2y is equal to 9, and x plus y is equal to 3. So if we do part B now, this is part B. We have a simultaneous equation, all right, or we have simultaneous equations, x plus 2y, x plus y. And now we will solve this using substitution. Okay, to find the point of intersection. First, I'll find the point of intersection, then I'll plot each graph just to show you the point of intersection. So first step of substitution is we need to take one of these equations, and this is equation 1, equation 2. We need to take one of these equations and put everything, put like either x by itself on the left or y. It depends. It depends on you. All on one side or everything else on the other side. So in this case, I will use equation 2. Okay. The reason for my selection usually is I always look at the value or the variable that does not have any coefficient or any number next to it. Okay. So in this case, they don't have any numbers next to it. So I could choose X or Y. And it doesn't matter which one you choose. In my case, I'll just choose X because why not? Okay. So from equation 2, X plus Y is equal to 3. We need لازم نخلي الX بروحها on the left side. So we need to keep the X by itself on the left. So we'll move the Y to the other side. It's going to be X is equal to 3 minus Y. Okay. Now we finished from equation 2. We have to plug in this X or substitute this X back into equation 1. Okay, it has to be substituted in equation 1, not substituted back into equation 2. So لأن we used here equation 2, خلصنا من equation 2. So now we have to use equation 1. All right. So by substituting, if we just rewrite equation 1 again, it's x plus 2y is equal to 9. So now we will put this 3 minus y, which is the x value, back into the x. Okay. Aren't we supposed to put both y and x on the left? That is not صح كلامك بس that's for the elimination method. Now I'm doing the substitution method. In the substitution method, you have to only keep one variable on the left for one of the equations. In the elimination method, you are completely correct. You have to put both x and y on the left and all the other constants on the right side of the equation. So moving on, we're just going to substitute this x over here into the x over here. The value of it is 3 minus y. So 3 minus y. Okay, you just put this number into x plus, and now we write the remaining equation, which is plus 2y is equal to 9. Okay. And now, as you can see, we only have y. We have one equation with one unknown, which is the y, one variable. And then ونحل بس هاي اللي بقى. ف 3 minus y plus 2y is equal to 9. احنا ال 3 بناخذ الصوب الثاني. فبيبقى لنا minus y plus 2y is equal to 9 minus 3. انزين. ف minus y plus 2y كأنكم تقولون 2y minus y, which is just y, is equal to, لأن this is minus 1 plus 2, which is 1, so 1y is equal to 9 minus 3, which is equal to 6. And وحصلنا الy مالنا. All right, simple. Is it always x, or we can choose either y or x? It doesn't matter what you choose. You can choose any variable and you can choose any equation you want to start with. My recommendation دايما روحوا حق الvariable يعني that does not have a number, like in this case, it does not have a number next to it, because it just makes it easier to solve. بس ولا it's correct, you can do that, بس it just makes it easier to solve. Okay. Now that we found our y value, we could just substitute this y value back into this x equation over here. into this y over here. So we found that y is equal to 6. مو غلطان. Yeah, y is equal to 6. So we can just plug this back into the y over here. So x is equal to 3 minus 6. X is equal to 3 minus 6 is basically minus 3. All right. Now we found our intersection points. خلاص, that's it. So x is minus 3 and y is equal to 6. So our point of intersection or solution is minus 3 اللي هو x value, 6 اللي هو y value. تمام? Any questions about the method? الحين I will do the plotting. But any questions about the method of solving simultaneous equation using substitution in this case? All right, perfect. The point of intersection الحين solution, we know that these two graphs when we plot them they'll have to intersect at minus 3 and 6. We know that. Now if we just take this equation again, these equations for the plotting part, these are our simultaneous equations. So we will start with x plus 2y equal 9. When x is equal to 0, y-intercept. زين. x equal to 0 معناته 0 plus 2y is equal to 9. يعني 2y is equal to 9. Divide by 2, divide by 2. بعدين بنحصل y is equal to 4.5. That's our y-intercept. This is for the first equation طبعا. And the x-intercept, y is equal to 0. X plus 2 times 0 is equal to 9. So x plus 2 is equal to 9. We take 2 to the other side. X is equal to 9 minus 2. X is equal to 7. Okay? So we found our 2 points. Again, if معي بينكم ال 4.5 تقدرون تستخدمون مثلا x equal 1 or y equal 1 عشان يسهل لكم الوضع. بس عشان تشوفون يعني مثلا بناخذ y is equal to 1. إذا عوضنا في الإكويشن مالنا هو x plus 2y equal 9 is equal to 9. alright. فإذا بنعوض ال1 بدال y هني بس بنحط ال1 times 1. ف x plus 2 is equal to 9. X is equal to oh sorry. Thank you. I made a mistake earlier. صح. ما أعرف إيش قاعد أمحي هالبارت بس هني x plus 2 ما لاحظت ما أدري ليش I thought of it as 1. This 2 times 0 is equal to 0. So x is simply just equal to 9. Thank you for correcting me. I made a mistake. Okay. Just a simple calculation mistake. And then, so x is equal to 9. That's our x-intercept, y-intercept. Just to repeat, الحين مثلا ال 4.5 هذا مضايقنكم تبون a full number, you can just choose a simple number, another point, مثلا y is equal to 1. زين وتعوضون في الإكويشن نفسه ف x plus 2 times 1 is equal to 9. In this case, it's going to be x plus 2 is equal to 9. We will just take the 2 to the other side. So x is equal to 9 minus 7, and x is equal to minus 7. But keep in mind, this is when y is equal to 1. فيعني كأن الكوردينات ماله بيكون minus 7, 1. هاي x y. Okay. This يعني the reason I'm doing this third point is عشان يكون عندكم extra point. Plus. مو minus. Plus. زين. وهاي 7 هاي 2 صح 9 minus 2 بدأ المخ شوي يضرب شكله زين 9 minus 2 تمام. So 9 minus 2 is equal to 7. The point here is 7 1. هذا the idea of what I did here is just to get an extra point if you don't like يعني dealing with decimals. That's the only idea. So now to plot this, the first line. زين عندنا ال y-intercept is y is equal to let's say 1 2 3 4.5 تقريبا قولوا هني زين. This is 4.5 وخلني استخدم ازرق. This is the first point 4.5 والx intercept is equal to 9. So let's say it's somewhere يعني شوية هنيك بعيد. زين 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 تقريبا هني بيطلع يعني. Okay, this is 9. تمام. So our line is just a line straight through these 2 points. Okay, تقريبا كذي بيطلع. This is our first line. Okay, now if we want to do, we've plotted our first equation. يعني this is equation 1. زين بس بكتب هنا equation 1 عشان you know this is equation 1. لو تلاحظون بعد يعني 7 1 is a point. فإذا رحنا ل 7 قولوا 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 شوفوا هني الانترسكشن ويا ال 1. This is point 1. This is point 7. Okay, so it's another point on the same line. You can use that. Now, we finished with equation 1. Let's solve for equation 2, or so we can plot it. So it's x plus y is equal to 3. X plus y is equal to 3, which is equation 2. This one is very simple, very easy to solve. عشان we find the intercepts. X intercept معناته y equals 0. Or y intercept you can start. It doesn't matter with which one you start, بس أهم شيء تطلعون both intercepts. معناته y equals 0, so x plus 0 is equal to 3. X is simply equal to 3. The y-intercept is when x is equal to 0, which means يعني شو اللي بتسوونه 0 plus y is equal to 3, simply y is equal to 3. سهلة بسيطة. الحين if we want to plot it, we know that y is equal to 3, so 1 2 3. زين, this is 3. Or x equal to 3, so let's say 1 2 3. زين, x is equal to 3. And now we will draw the line. And it will be something تقريبا كذي. Okay? If you notice, the intersection point is happening over here. This is the intersection point. Okay? It's where y يعني where line 1 or line 2. This is line 2. بس نطول في line 2 شوي زيادة. تقريبا لين هني هاي line 2. إنزين. The intersection point, we already found the coordinates ماله. إنزين. And we can just double check. هو minus 3. يعني تقريبا نقولوا هني minus 3 معناته. This is minus 3, which makes sense. It's on the opposite side. With this, هني لو نروح للy axis is equal to 6. All right. And that's it. That's the solution. هذا minus 3 with 6 is this what we found using the simultaneous equation method. These are the lines with all the points on them. You have the equations of the lines given. That's basically it. Let me see. Can you repeat the elimination method, please? Inshallah, I will يعني repeat it after I finish week 7. I will go over elimination again. Or if we do another example, I'll use elimination again. عشان you just get an idea. So we can just stop there. Why have to plot second equation? Or we have to explain. Yeah, we have to. You have to. The idea is the question is asking sketch the graph and find the solution. So when you're sketching the graph, you have to sketch both line 1 and line 2. So we have to plot both graphs, line 1 and line 2. That's the idea of simultaneous equations. You have two graphs, and you need to find the solution, which you can find either by substitution or elimination. Excuse me. بعد في أي أسئلة? Any other questions? Is it clear? Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it أبا شوية يعني ردة فعلكم عشان I get يعني you guys are understanding ولا you guys are just يعني following ولا لا وكذي. This is week 7, yes. Okay. In this case, we will move on. زين. We will do this question over here. So the question says, by giving your explanation, find the solutions from the below graph using simultaneous equations. So this is the graph that has been given. As much as I can. This is the graph that has been given. الحين قبل, can you say what you do fast or give us more example? I will do more examples. It's fine. There's no need for quadratic equation. لا, we will move on to quadratic. I will finish this concept وبعدين I will go to quadratics. شوي بيطول السيشن يعني, but it's fine. يعني if you have to go or whatever, it's all going to be recorded and uploaded. All right. Then I want to make sure لأن these concepts here are covering basically كيف تسوون week 5, كيف تسوون week 4, كيف تسوون week 3, كيف تسوون كل الweeks basically. You are combining all of your knowledge and applying in week 7. So this is, you can think of as a revision for all the weeks at the same time. Now, we solved the equation in this method when we were given the two linear equations and then we plotted. Now they are asking us to do the opposite with giving an explanation. Yani the question says, by giving your explanation, find the solutions from the below graph of the simultaneous equations. طبعا, يعني by just looking at the graph, نقدر احنا we say that this point right here is the intersection point. With solution ماله, if we just follow the line, زين 4 حق x x value والy value إذا نروح هني minus 4. But by just looking at the graph, we can instantly know that this is the solution. But it's asking for us to give justification or explanation. I know it's a multiple choice exam online, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure how the questions will be, so I will just cover this concept really very quickly. But the first step is, let's say this is our line 1. This is line 1, and let's say this is line 2. Hello? We will look at line 1 first. Line 1, we need to plot. We need to find the equation of the line, just like we did in week 5. So how do we do this? We look at any two points that are intersecting, okay? That are easy to plot basically, or easy to get the numbers from. ففي هالحالة I will take this line, this point, اللي هو مثل ما تشوفون ال y intercept, so it's 0, 2, زين. ال x intercept مو بوايد واضح, I will go to another point. What you can always do is you can always use the intersection point as your second point, which is this point over here. زين, لأن it's going to be the same for both. So you can find just one point from the first graph, and your second point, this will be point number 2. This will be point number 1. زين. And now we can find the equation of a line. So if you remember, the equation of a line is y is equal to mx plus c, where c is the y-intercept. In this case, the y-intercept is equal to 2, so c is equal to 2. Then the x value is 0. So we already found c. To find m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. صح? So we'll call this our y2 and our y1. This our x2 and x1. خليني أحطه بالأحمر لأن this is for equation 1. x2 x1 and y. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. So y1. This is y2, x2. This is y2, x2. This is y1, x1, y1. Okay? Now, to solve the equation, m is equal to y2, which is minus 4, minus y1, which is 2, over x2, which is 4, x1, which is 0. M is going to be equal to minus 4 minus 2 is minus 6, over 4 minus 0 is just 4. So M is equal to minus 1.5. Okay, فطلعنا الM. So our equation 1, I'll write it here. Equation 1 is y is equal to M, which is minus 1.5 x, plus C, which is 2. So this is our equation 1. Okay. Now, if we go, we'll do the same exact thing for equation 2. We need to find a point for equation 2. So we'll go the y-intercept. I usually prefer going there. Since the y-intercept is easy to find from the graph, it is 0 for the x part and -2 for the y part. Okay? There is no specific reason why we choose 0, 2. And the reason I choose 0, 2 is for two reasons. You have to just choose any point along the line. Okay? Any point along the line. أنا اخترت 0, 2 لأن it's the y-intercept of the شو اسمه the y-intercept of equation 1. لأن x is equal to 0 ف y1 أو اللي هو y-intercept بيساوي 2. ف it's easy to find points يعني النمبر مال c in one step, in one go. That's why I usually choose it. The other reason is because it is an easy point to find. يعني مثلا الحين لو نشوف ال x-intercept of this line, it is between 1 and 2 and it's not very clear where the point exactly is on the graph. ف always go for a point where you can see exactly the x and y values of it. And I always prefer to go with the y-intercepts first if I can find them, because it just makes it much easier to find the y-intercept in the equation. Okay? In C, is C only 2 or can it be -2? In 1 it's only 2. وهو الفاليو هني اللي تطلعونه يعني for equation 1 الحين let's talk about equation 1. C value for equation 1 is equal to 2. It's not -2. It's exactly the point depending on the location on the graph. فلأن هني 2 it's positive 2 هني it's positive 2 for C for equation 1. Now when we go to equation 2 we found the y-intercept. And this is for equation 2. Now we are working on equation 2. Equation 2, we found the y-intercept. Now we have to do the same exact steps all over again. زين this was for equation 1 over here, the one we did before. For equation 2, we find the c, the y equal mx plus c بيكون زين. The c value مالنا we know is equal to -2 because it's the the y-intercept in the equation. Okay? And then we have to do the solution for m. Same idea as here, we need to find m. So m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Before I move on, let me just see, a lot of people are confused. For equation 2, we have to choose the point where it is on the y-axis. Again, it's you don't have to, it is preferred. يعني يفضل انتوا لازم تاخذون any point, any 2 points along the line. Always I would recommend تاخذون the point that is intersecting with the y لأن that's your y-intercept. So that value is always also going to be your c value. So it makes it easier to write the equation. Does that make sense? Before I continue, everyone understood what I did for how to get the equation for line 1, صح? في anything else you can ask now. زين Abdullah Adil, did I answer your question? I want to make sure that you understand the concept. Sail, انت بعد you're understood? Okay. تمام. ممتاز. Moving on, we are now finding yes, you can take any points along the same line. And yes, then we put the equation, we use the equation y is equal to mx plus c. We chose 0 minus 2 لأن it is the line, if you see line 2 اللي بالأحمر هني line 2 زين, this line is intersecting the y at 0 اللي هني الزيرو والvalue مال y is minus 2. That's why we chose minus 2. السبب I always choose points that are intersecting with the y-intercept. It just makes it very easy to plot later on, to find the equation later on, and you will find the c value مالكم. That's the reason I always choose values along the y-axis. Okay. نكمل. So y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1. Like I said, احنا طلعنا الحين ال x1 وال y1 مالنا. ال x2 وال y2 is the exact same point 2. فهذا point 1. زين. هذا point 2 اللي هو x2 y2 the same intersection point لأن هاي الpoint is on both graphs. So you don't have to find the second point. زين. So this is your point 2 for both equations. You can use it. فالحين لو كملنا solving الm يساوي y2 minus y1 y2 هني اللي هو minus 4 minus minus 2 y1 all over x2 which is 4 minus x1 which is 0. So m is equal to minus 4 minus and minus, minus 4 minus and minus becomes plus 2 over 4, which is equal to minus 4 plus 2 is just minus 2 over 4, equal to minus 0.5 or minus half. Okay, so we found our C, we found our M. Now we could just put them back into equation 2, into the equation of a line, which is y is equal to mx. M is minus 0.5 اللي طلعناه, x minus or plus c, which is plus minus 2, which we can just write يعني as minus 2. يعني y is equal to minus 0.5x minus 2. I will not, this is the last session. I don't have any more sessions. I will finish all of the concepts of week 7. I know it's going to be a bit longer and people have to take a break. If you have to go, you can go, but I will finish all the concepts here today and I will upload the video inshallah by as soon as I'm done with the session. Any questions? Is it understood what I did? Best a quick recap. At first, I found the equation of line 1, أول line, okay, اللي هو اللاين هني. Then I found the equation of line 2. زين. The way I did it is when I did for line 1, I found another point. I found another point for both lines. يعني I found x1, y1 as my point 1. Point 2 is I took as the point which is both graphs are intersecting at. ليش؟ لأن this point can be used as point 2 for both graphs لأن it's a point on both lines. النقطة هاي موجودة على الخطين. it satisfies both lines. Once I did that, I just applied the equation of a line y equal mx plus c. الm نعرف is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. فهذا البوينت 2 مالي. زين وهذا البوينت 1 مالي. سويت y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1 طلعنا الm. C is the y-intercept اللي the point I already got from the very beginning which is equal to 2 لأن ال x value equals 0 لأن لو تذكرون y-intercept معناته x equals 0. نفس الشيء طبقت حق equation 2 حصلنا ال y-intercept which is minus 2 when x equal to 0. okay. بعدين 0.2 minus 0.1 حق عشان نطلع ال m. بعدين طلعنا ال c already عندنا إياه و I wrote the equations, the simultaneous equations. So the final simultaneous equations is y is equal to minus 1.5x plus 2 and y is equal to minus 0.5x minus 2. These are our simultaneous equations. Any questions before I move on? This is the whole concept. This is the whole idea of يعني I already explained in the previous examples how to do it. If you have the equation of the line, how to plot. Now, if you have the line, the plot itself, how you find the equation of the line. This is just a recap of week 5, I think. Yeah, week 5. So يعني there's nothing new here. The only difference is there are 2 lines instead of 1. Yes, after we find the reason we are finding these 2 equations is we want to solve and make sure when we are solving, we get this point, which is 4 minus 4 as the solution, because that's where they are intersecting. But now we will solve these just to show and ليش؟ لأن السؤال clearly says by giving your explanation. So this is how you give the explanation. So now if we want to solve these, زين, if we want to solve this, let's use, for example, elimination method. زين. First, we'll have to move everything for elimination method. We'll have to move the x's and the y's on one side and the numbers on the other side. In this case, for the first equation, it's going to be y. We will just move the x here. Plus 1.5x is equal to 2. Here it's minus, so it becomes plus. And for this is equation 1. And for equation 2, it's going to be y plus 0.5x is equal to minus 2. And this is equation 2. Okay? Now, by the process of elimination, we're going to solve this with elimination. That's the whole concept. That's why we ordered it this way. By the process of elimination, we have to look at the signs. We're going to eliminate y because it's easier to eliminate y instead of x because it has no numbers next to it. So the number here, it's basically like 1y, right? It's plus 1y plus 1y. And then, so the numbers are also similar and the signs are also similar. Because the signs are similar, we're going to have to multiply everything by -1. Why? Because we want them to cancel. So when we have the same signs here, we have to multiply it by the negative number so that when we're adding these two equations, y's will cancel out. So we're multiplying by -1. Of course, because we're multiplying here, we have to multiply the whole equation by -1. Now, if we rewrite the equation, it's going to be -y plus 1.5x times -1 is equal to 2 times -1. Simplifying this equation will give us -y is equal to not equal to, sorry, -y, and then plus 1.5x times -1, minus and plus becomes minus. 1.5x times 1 is just 1.5x, equal to plus 2 times -1 becomes minus. 2 times 1 is 2. Yes, you can minus instead of multiplying by -1. You could just subtract one equation from the other. Yes, but I prefer doing it this way because there's less room for error. لأن minus, when you're doing it, it becomes a bit complicated. It's always easier to deal with plus. Okay, so we found our equation 1. This is still our equation 1. Now, if we rewrite our equation 2, it's y plus 0.5x is equal to -2. This is our equation 2. This is our simultaneous. Now we can add both equations. Again, when adding, we're going to go step by step. So -y plus y. So we're going to first write the first term, -y, then plus y. Then keep the sign. Don't forget the sign. Minus 1.5x. And we'll go to the next one. Plus 0.5x is equal to, we'll take this, -2. Minus, because we're going to take the sign, 2. X plus y, minus y plus y is going to be equal to 0. اللي بيبقى لنا this part, which is minus 1.5 plus 0.5. تحطون minus 1.5 plus 0.5 in the calculator. You're going to get -1 x. زين, or basically, which is equal to minus x. Minus x is equal to -2, and -2 is -4. Okay? Solving this equation, x is equal to 4. Minus, if you divide, cancel, you can cancel both of these minuses, or if you could just divide by -1 both sides, it will become x is equal to 4. Tamam? Makes sense? Now, because we're doing elimination, we found our x. Now we need to find our y. X is equal to 4. We can plug into any of these two equations to find y. So x is equal to 4. Let's take the first equation, which is y plus 1.5. Y plus 1.5x is equal to 2. So if we're plugging in the 4 here, 1.5 times 4 is equal to 2. Y plus 1.5 times 4, if I'm not mistaken, is equal to 6, is equal to 2. So y plus 6 is equal to 2. Y, we'll just take the 6 to the other side, is equal to 2 minus 6. And then y is equal to 2 minus 6 is -4. Now, we found our point, our solution, which is the x, the y. So 4 minus 4. Now we are double checking if this satisfies the points we found. Yes, over here, it's 4 and -4. So our point of intersection is correct. And we proved it mathematically, or solution. فهمتوا شو سويت؟ And that's it. That's everything for من ناحية solution. Nothing here is new. None of these concepts are new. الفكرة only is the intersection point, لأن we have two lines instead of one. You find the equations of each line. In this step over here, you find the equations of each line. That's your first step. You find equation 1 and equation 2 separately. After that, after finding the equations of the line, you can use either elimination or substitution by solving the simultaneous equation. You will find your solution, which should be the point of intersection, and double check with the graph. The question is lengthy, but the reason it's lengthy is because it requires a lot of practice. أنا لأن قاعد أشرح step by step، قاعد أسوي كل شيء step by step. If I was solving this equation by myself, إنزين, it will maybe take me 10 seconds, literally 10 seconds. And I will do it all in my head because I've practiced so much with math, all the concepts with math, no matter what level you are. Inshallah, قاعد تسوي 1 plus 1, or you are doing advanced integration calculus. All of it requires practice. عشان you get better at it and you can solve quicker. Without practice, you will not be able to solve this quickly, even if you understand the concepts. Okay, so the idea of math is you need to practice a lot so you get used to, okay, you just look at the graph and you know where the intercepts are. You don't have to do any calculation. You just know, you remember the equation of the line in your head. You don't have to write it down every time. So this all comes with practice. We got -4. How did it become 4? For which one? We got 4 and -4. يعني شوفي هني, if I'm just going to copy this and compare. So if I bring this point in Z, for X, it's 4. For X here, it's 4 as well. For Y, it's -4. And for Y here, it's -4. It's the same numbers. We did not get any different numbers. We can solve it using substitution, yes. Substitution or elimination depends either on the question, if it asks you which method you should be solving with, or if it doesn't, you can use any method you prefer. هني قصدك how we got -2 and -2 is equal to 4. انزين. Let me explain how I cut the negative signs. انزين. فطلع لنا الجواب -x is equal to -4. انزين. How do you get rid of the minus? You divide both sides by -1. Divide both sides, because anything you do here, you have to do here. So by dividing by -1, the minuses cancel, and the minuses here will cancel. Okay? 4 over 1 is simply 4. X over 1 is simply x. So the solution will be x is equal to 4 over 1, which is equal to 4. Does that make sense? يعني this you could say is a shortcut. لأن everything here it's minus and minus. I flip the signs. Everyone understood what I did here, لا? How I got rid of the minus, صح? Asile, especially you. You got how I cut the minus? The negative sign? You have to do this. لأن إحنا we're trying to find the value for x. We're not trying to find the value for x for minus x. إحنا لازم الx يكون بروحه. يعني same idea إذا عندكم 2x is equal to 8 مثلا. We cannot just keep this as the final solution. We have to divide by 2 عشان we find x by itself, which is equal to 4. It's the same idea. So if you have negative x, it's basically as if saying you have -1x. Minus x is basically equal to -1x. So if we're saying -1x is equal to -4, we have to cancel this -1 because this isn't the final solution. So we divide by -1 on both sides. عشان we cancel this -1 with this -1. And then, so x is equal to -4 over -1. Because they're opposite signs, or the same sign, it's going to become positive 4 over 1. Or you could say you're canceling the minus, so it's equal to 4. That's the concept. Now, since everyone, I think everything got clear, let me just erase this part عشان ما حد يتلخبط بعدين. إنزين, I will move on and do the parabolas. طبعا في a lot more questions. I would recommend you guys practice these other questions, and it's the exact same concept. So now I'm going to do one part of question 1, and I'll do one part of question 2, and I will show you how you're supposed to do it. Okay. الحين أنا سؤالي before I move on. Into in class, because I'm not sure about this concept. Into in class, did the teacher ever tell you you have to find the equation of a parabola from the graph ولا لا؟ لأن I didn't see this in any of your worksheets or in your solving, and now you have to do that. Did the teacher teach this concept in class so I know if I have to teach it here or if I don't have to focus on it at all. لأن أصلا I don't think you need to بس فهمتوا سؤالي لا إن هني شفتوا how we found يعني I know this was taught in class إن here we have this equation of a line إنزين we have the equation of a line وطلعنا ال value الفورمولا ماله. Did you have to ever do the same thing for a parabola ولا لا؟ زين. أنا for now I will not teach that concept لأن it's a bit long lengthy عشان يعني لأن like you said it could be a bit confusing. It's not complicated, it just gets confusing لأن لازم تفهمون النقطة شو قاعدين نسوي. فأنا I will just explain how the concept of how to find ال intersection of the lines if you have a parabolic equation and a normal equation. So nothing new at all من ناحية solving at all يعني all the concepts here you already know from before from the previous weeks. So if we do part A, we have y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3 and we have y is equal to 2x minus 3. Then this is equation 1, this is equation 2. Okay? إنزين. Graphing the equation, or I already explained how to graph both equations, the linear equation or quadratic. And then we will graph it at the end, but first we will solve it using simultaneous equations. We already also covered that topic in week 4. If you have a lot of trouble with solving simultaneous, you can watch the video of week 4 and I went يعني deep into each concept of how to solve a simultaneous. So in this case, to solve it, it's easier to just use elimination method. You can use substitution, but in this case, it's much easier to use elimination. Actually, let's use substitution. Substitution is much easier. I don't know what I'm saying. في هالحالة, substitution is much easier. I will show you why. إنزين. I posted the link of one of the videos that I did last time هني في chat. If you just scroll up, you'll find it. And Sara will post the remaining videos today night or tomorrow morning, inshallah. إنزين. Let's move on. Substitution. So what was substitution? We need one of the variables to be on the left side and everything else on the right side. So if you look at equation 2, always in the case of quadratic equations, if you have one quadratic equation, just look at the linear equation and use that equation. يعني for example, equation 2, okay? Y is equal to 2x minus 3. Already مرتبة يعني, already the y is by itself on the left side and it's the linear equation. And always look at the y value. Don't look at the x value. Keep that on the left side in the case of quadratic. Yani wherever the squared is, don't use that and try to keep that on the left side. لا, use the other variable. تمام? So, we have already equation 2. And now we just substitute. What's our equation 1? We have to substitute obviously in 1. Our equation 1 is y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. So we will substitute this y instead of this y. Yani this value, we will put it there. So 2x minus 3 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. إنزين. Simple. Very simple. إنزين. الحين now we just have a simple quadratic equation. لكن we have to put it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? So 2x minus 3, yani we'll take them one by one to the other side. So let's take the minus 3 to the other side. بيستوي 2x is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3 plus 3 لأن هني minus فيستوي plus. زين الحين we'll take the 2x to the other side. So so 0 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3 and plus 3. I will cancel them from now. زين. لأن it's very straightforward. Minus 3 plus 3 is equal to 0. 0. يعني هذا وياه. زين. Now we're taking the 2x to the other side. So here I'm just going to write minus 0 اللي هو هذا. Minus 2x. تمام? Minus 2x. Then we just move the x to the other side. It's plus here. So we have it becomes minus there. Just going to rewrite this equation. 0 I will take to the other side. يعني I'll just swap the places. For x squared minus 2x minus 2x is equal to 0. بما معناه. Minus 2x and minus 2x, it's x squared minus 4x is equal to 0. Okay? So now to solve, what is our A? It's equal to 1. What is our B? It's equal to -4. And what is our C? 0. ما عندنا C value. So it's equal to 0. تمام? Okay. I will move on الحين. X squared minus 4x. To solve this, you can use mod 5.3. I'm going to just explain it. ما عندكم C, it's much easier. So you can say the first solution is x equals 0. أول solution x equals 0. لأن when you put 0 في الأكسس بيستوي الجواب صح. والsecond solution بيكون إذا كنسلنا السكوير بس don't worry about it. زين ف x1 is equal to 0. x2 is going to be so x squared equal to 4x. يوم نكنسل هني x2 is equal to 4. زين don't do this in the exam and to do mod 5.3 I'll use quadratic equations زين الفورمولا قصدي. So x1 is equal to 0, x2 is equal to 4. Now we found our x values. Because we have two values in a quadratic equation, we're going to have two y values. So now we're going to have to find y2, and y1. So let's take this equation and we'll substitute back into this equation. Okay, so we're going to have a y1 value. So y1 is equal to 2 times x1 اللي هو 0 minus 3. So y1 is equal to, this goes to 0 minus 3. y2 بناخذ ال 4, so it's equal to 2 into 4 minus 3. We just basically took this 4 and we plugged in. So we're just plugging into the x. y2 is equal to 8 minus 3. 2 times 4 is 8 minus 3. y2 is equal to 5. All right, so we found our first point, which is 0, 4, 0, sorry, minus 3, which is x1, y1. And we found our second point, which is 4, 5, x2, y2. What does this mean? احنا we were solving simultaneous equations y, so we can find the point of intersection. This shows us that there are 2 points of intersection. لأن عندنا quadratic equation لا، فيعني يوم يكون عندنا quadratic equation with a straight line مثلا شيء كذي بيكون عندنا intersection هني وبيكون عندنا intersection هني، صح ولا لا؟ This is our first intersection, second intersection. All right, so we will have 2 points. Sometimes you can have 1 point, sometimes you can have no points intersecting, which we'll see later. بس هني في هالحالة it is we have 2 points of intersection. All right, 0 and minus 3, 4 and 5. We already solved. This is our solution. We solved. Now we can go to the plotting part. We will plot. Nothing new in the plotting. It's exactly the same as we just explained in week 6. And then and how we explained week 5 basically concept of plotting a linear line. But before I plot, is the simultaneous question يعني the idea of it, the algebra behind it clear? الحل فهمتوه زين ما زين؟ فهمتوا ليش عندنا 2 points؟ فهمتوا كيف سويت الquadratic equation؟ كيف سويت substitution؟ Everything is clear؟ ممتاز حلو. Okay, no questions. Amazing. خلنا we move on to plotting. So plotting, let's start with the line, with equation 2. Then equation 2 will be blue and equation 1 will be red. Okay? I will just solve everything for equation 2 in blue عشان بس يعني ما تتخربطون. y equal 2x minus 3. What's the idea? The idea of plotting a line. يلا انتوا الحين اباكم تقولون لي في الchat. How do we do it? What is the first step of plotting a line? We just solved one. What is the first step of plotting a line? I want to see إذا فاهمين شوي ولا لا. ما حد انزين. First step, y-intercept. يعني x equals 0. زين y-intercept معناته when we substitute x equals 0 for y is equal to 2 times 0 minus 3. So y is equal to 2 minus 3. Sorry, 2, this goes to 0. So y is just equal to minus 3. كنت بسوي نفس الغلطة. زين. So y is just equal to minus 3. Found our y-intercept? Perfect. X-intercept. Y is equal to 0. Y is equal to 0 معناته 0 is equal to 2x minus 3. So if we solve this equation, we'll take the 3 to the other side. 2 plus 3, and then here it's minus, is equal to 2x. All right? So just rewriting the same equation, but I'm putting the x on the left side. We divide by 2, we divide by 2. X is equal to 3 over 2, which is equal to 1.5. That's our x-intercept. We found our y-intercept and our x-intercept. Now, زين, this is our x, our y. Let's say تقريبا. Let me just make it a bit straight. Then this is our y. I want to solve it بوضوح شوي عشان بس you see the points وتفهمون النقطة. And this is our x-axis. Then this is our x-axis. So I'll just write x, y. So to plot now, to plot this, we need only 2 points, which is the y-intercept, minus 3. So 1, 2, 3, minus 3. This is our first point. X 1.5 plus 1.5. So this is 1, say تقريبا هني is 1.5. زين. Now we just draw a line. Okay. This line to the points تقريبا كذي بيكون. Rotate it a bit more. Okay. So we drew our line. You want me to repeat the x-intercept? Okay. I'll repeat the x-intercept and then an equation y is equal to 2x minus 3. So y is equal to 2x minus 3. X-intercept معناتها y is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 2x minus 3. حلو. 2x minus 3 we need to solve we need to just يعني solve this equation and find x. So we will take the minus 3 to the other side. It becomes plus 3 is equal to 2x. Then we divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. So 3 over 2 is equal to 2 and 2 cancel x. So we can say x is equal to 3 over 2, which is equal to 1.5. No need for m. When we're plotting, we don't need to find the m. When we are trying to find the equation of the line, we need to find the slope. But when we're plotting, we just need 2 points. We don't need to find the m. لأن we already know الm فيها equation. الm هني is 2. لأن this equation is in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. فalready نعرف إن الm is 2. But we don't need it. Okay? We don't need any of this. Now, we finished plotting the line. This is equation 2. This is 2, line 2. So I'm just going to put line 2 here. Now to go to the quadratic equation. The quadratic equation we have y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. X squared minus y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay? This is what we just covered, the concept in week 6, x squared minus 2x minus 3. What was the concept? We have to do 4 steps. First step, y-intercept. Yani when x equals 0. When x equals 0, y is equal to 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 3. This goes to 0. This becomes 0. So y is just equal to minus 3. Hello, we found our y-intercept. X-intercept. X-intercept. Y is equal to 0. معناته 0 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. تمام? What do we have to do here? Solve a quadratic equation. I'm just going to rewrite it. X squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. ال A value مالنا is equal to 1. ال B value مالنا is equal to minus 2. ال C value مالنا is equal to minus 3. تمام؟ x squared minus 2x minus 3. We can either use modify 3, which I will do now. زين عشان نطلع x1 و x2. Or we can use the quadratic formulas. So by using mod 5.3, calculator, by using mod 5.3, ال A value مالنا 1, ال B value مالنا minus 2, وال C value مالنا minus 3. x1 يطلع equal to 3, x2 يطلع equal to minus 1. حلو؟ Easy so far إن شاء الله. يعني there's no new concepts. طلعنا الحين ال x intercepts. So these are our x intercepts. زين؟ This is our y intercept. نروح ل point 3. إذا تتذكرون 3 we have to do find the axis of symmetry. معناته we have to use the equation x is equal to minus b over 2a. minus b over 2a x minus b يعني minus زين minus b اللي هو sorry b هو minus 2 already. زين حطينا minus هني والb نفسه بعد minus و 2 times a which is 1. 4. Now we found our x. Well, let's solve it. See, I forgot to solve it. Minus times, you could just put it in the calculator, but if you want to understand the concept, minus times minus, it becomes plus, so it becomes 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. We found our x equal to 1. Now our turning point. Turning point. We take the equation, our quadratic equation, and we substitute the value. And we substitute the value of x equal to 1. So x equal to 1 will be substituted here. ليش؟ لأن this is the value we found from minus b over 2a. So if we substitute that, sorry, it's not equal to 0. This is y. And this is the original equation. Y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. And then, so x we will substitute here. Y is equal to, oops, خلي كل شيء بالأحمر. Y is equal to x squared, اللي هو 1 squared, minus 2 into 1, minus 3. Y is equal to 1 squared is 1, minus 2 times 1 is minus 2, minus 3. So 1 minus 2 minus 3, y is equal to minus 4. Then a 1 and so minus 2 minus 3, it's minus 5. 1 minus 5 is minus 4. فطلعنا ال turning point مالنا where x is equal to x هذا 1 وال y minus 4. Done. Clear. This is what we just explained in week 6. Common. We don't need axis of symmetry for the first equation, Muhammad, لأن the first equation is a linear equation. We don't have a parabola. يعني we're not plotting a parabola. فما في axis of symmetry هني. It's a straight line. The axis of symmetry is only used to plot a parabola بس. Okay, which is a quadratic function يعني. All right. Now let's go back to the plotting. We'll just remind ourselves the y-intercept. Oops, 1 second. The y-intercept. The y-intercept كان minus 3. The x-intercept is 3 and minus 1. So 3 and x equal minus 1. Intercepts. بعدين the turning point. Turning point is 1, I believe, minus 4. 1 minus 4. Now these values we're going to have to put up into the equation. All of these values, then we're going to have to put into we are going to have to plot. So first we plot our y-intercept. When the y-intercept? Minus 3. Hello, y-intercept هني. Same as before. Same, it's you can already tell that it's one of the intersecting points. And then So minus 3. And x-intercept عندنا minus 1. هني minus 1. وعندنا 3. هني ال 3. Okay. Then this is 1.5. But this is the 3. Okay. Now that we have the 3, now that we have the points, the main points, we have to plot our turning point, which is 1 minus 4. 1, 1 which is here, 1, and minus 4 which is here. Okay. بس عشان يتوضح الوضع شوي. هاي minus 3 هني. زين. So where this is 1 and this is minus 4. Okay. البوينت هني البوينت هني. So this is the main point اللي هو 1 minus 4. زين. And this is the x, this is the y. But now we have a good idea of what our red graph looks like اللي هو parabola. We know it has to go through this x over here, the y-intercept. It has to go through the x-intercepts. So if we plot it, it's going to look something تقريبا like this. Almost. زين. الحين makes sense? So far, nothing, no new concepts. We're just plotting, same as week 6. If we see now, we have 2 points of intersection. We have this point over here, which we already know the coordinates of, اللي هو 0 minus 3, the y-intercept. So 0 minus 3. بعدين عندنا this point. طبعا, how do we make sure? We already found the intercepts هني, the 2-point intersects من equation earlier. من simultaneous, من solving the simultaneous equation earlier. So we know ان x اول point of intersection بيكون 0 minus 3, which checks out. y equals 0 x equal minus 3. زين. وهني لو تلاحظون this is 4. زين. This is 5 تقريبا يعني 1 2 3 4. هو المفروض يكون شوي اعلى and that's 5. زين. This is our second point 4 5, which we found 4 5, which we found from simultaneous equations. Is this point clear? This is the solution. This is the final solution. خلاص خلصنا. It makes sense. Everything I said so far makes sense. ما في أسئلة. All right. That's the whole concept. You can practice with B and C. It's the exact same idea. If you have any questions, you can you can ask now. بس خلاص, this is the last thing. Oh, just one more thing. هني مثلا في هالجراف, let's take this as an example. Let's take these two. زين. عندنا these two graphs. In this case لو تلاحظون هني ما في any intersection. ما في intersection هني, يعني اللاين is going this way. زين. ما في any intersecting point between البارابولا واللاين. They call this case no solution. لأن there is no solution. يعني لو سوينا simultaneous equation ما بنقدر نحله بالأصح. زين. ف graphically if you see this معناته there is no solution. لأن there is no intersection at all. In this case, remember when I told you there can be only one solution? In this case, the turning point is the solution. اللي هو 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2. There can, in this point, يعني the intersection point is only one point. Only one point. يعني you can have either one point, you can have 2 points, or you can have no solutions. And that's pretty much it. يعني these are the main concepts you guys need to know. I'm pretty sure يعني the whole thing is how 1 دقيقة. How 1 you mean part A يعني how here 1 okay this is 1 تشوفون هني هاي number 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 فهاي number 1 وهذا sorry it's not minus 2 it's wait it is minus 2 لأن this is minus 1 minus 2 minus 3 okay 1 minus 2. So here the intersection is x and y, right? Not y intersection. What do you mean? ما فهمت سؤالك. شو قصدك intersection is x and y? Are you talking about intercepts? Well, I didn't understand your question. Can you clarify a little bit? It's not when x cuts y. In general, هني it's just the turning points. انزين. Technically يعني في منطق شوي. Yeah, okay, you could say that. But it's not x cutting y exactly. It's the line that is parallel to x اللي هو line equation مال هذا where they both meet. They're cutting at both x and y لأن ال x value ماله is 1 وال y value ماله is minus 2. يعني a turning point has to have an x and a y. Does that make sense? Did that kind of answer your question? لأن x is not cutting. It's not the x-axis cutting. It's the line of B, which is the line of the blue line. The line of the blue line in this case, زين, is y is equal to minus 2. That's the line. لأن it's a parallel line. I think this concept was covered in week 5, and I will go over it after any other questions are answered. But in this case, the line is equal to just minus 2. لأن it's a straight parallel line. The intersection point here is 1 minus 2. It's not just minus 2. لأن it's a coordinate. لا لازم تشيكون ال x coordinate ماله وال y coordinate ماله. ف on the x it goes يعني أوضح هاي النقطة هني شوي. زين. This is the number 1. Okay, so this over here is the number 1. This is the x part, and this is the y part over here. This is the y part, which is, if you see, this is 1, this is 2, or minus 1, minus 2, and this is minus 3. So we're going to follow and find this point over here. This is the intersection point. The intersection here of the point is between the two graphs. It's not on the y-intercept. It's at this point, at the turning point, which is 1 minus 2. تمام? Any other questions? زين. The y-intercept is minus 2. لا, the y-intercept here is not minus 2. The y-intercept here is a little bit less than minus 2 لو تلاحظون يعني هني of the parabola. بس هني and you don't worry about the y-intercept or x-intercept. هني you are looking at just the intersection point في هالحالة. So the intersection point هني يعني if I zoom in this picture a bit more. زين. If you look at it here, like I said, this is the y-intercept over here. Over here is the y-intercept. It's not exactly at minus 2. This is minus 2. زين. If I write the numbers, يعني this is 1, this is minus 1. زين. This is 1, this is minus 1, this is minus 2. Okay? So the intercept is this blue marker over here. This is the y-intercept, not the intersection of the line, the y-intercept. The intersection of the lines or the graphs is here. This is the y-intercept of the curve of the parabola. Okay. Delete this. Solution A, الانترسبت هني. There's no solution for the intersection. The solution is no solution, and there is no intersection between the lines. For the parabola, you can see the turning point is at the y-intercept, which is 0, 3. يعني لو هذا بعد الحين كبر شوي هني. زين. You can see that there's no intersection between the lines, so there's no solution. But if we're just looking at the parabola, just at the parabola, هني this is the turning point, which is also the y-intercept, which is equal to 3. Okay. Or you can notice here بعد there is no x-intercept. يعني عادي البارابولا الايكويشن الجراف مالكم ما يكون لها x-intercept. لأن its turning point is starting above the x-axis and it's an upward, the positive a, so it's an upward U shape. It does not necessarily have to have an x-intercept. It will always have a y-intercept, but it will never. Sometimes it can have only 1 point, no, or no points, or 1 point or 2 points for the x-intercept. But there will always be at least one y-intercept for a parabola, always, in all cases. y-intercept, okay. شنو هو y-intercept? y-intercept is when a graph is intersecting with the y. زين؟ The y-intercept is basically when the graph is intersecting with the y. هني we have two separate graphs. احنا here we have two separate graphs. We have the parabola, which we'll call graph number 1, وعندنا a line, which is graph number 2. The y-intercept for both, زين, the y-intercept is separate, it's different. يعني ما يخص الجراف في الجراف الثاني. يعني if you're looking at the y-intercept of the parabola, you forget this even exists. لأنه مو موجود. زين, لأن أنتو when you're finding the y-intercept, it's only relative to one equation, مو both lines. زين, فيوم تبون تحصلون y-intercept هني for the parabola, the y-intercept is equal to 3, which is this point. The y-intercept for the case of a straight line or linear line, زين, is this point where it's equal to 2. So y-intercept equal to. They're completely different things. يعني بتكتبون for equation 2, the y-intercept is like this. For equation 3, the y-intercept is like that. The whole idea of y-intercept is where the one line is intersecting one equation يعني is intersecting the y-intercept. مو both. The y-intercept for each line, each parabola is always going to be different from each other. Not always, but يعني are found different. زين, لأن sometimes they are intersecting there, but if they're not intersecting at the y-intercept, it's going to be different for each equation. Does that make sense? زين. Any more questions about these points, about these topics over here? Okay. زين. Sorry, بس لو كاتبين كنتوا أسئلتكم من قبل and I didn't cover them, can you just rewrite them in chat لأن there's a lot of يعني from week 5 إذا عندكم أسئلة وكذي, I will cover them now, but it will not be in the recording. I'm going to stop يعني the recording now عشان it doesn't يعني be too long. It's almost 3 hours. So this recording will only cover يعني from week 5 to week 6, sorry, to week 7.